Right, welcome back guys. So nets are out now. So tide's just on its way in, just on the other side of that gully there. So it's screaming in. See big tide. Weather conditions look good for a bit of cod. Like nice little bit of movement in the water. So a beautiful day there. Right, nets are set out. So we've got, this is the trammel net, 90 foot. So I've just basically put a wooden plate in the ground to anchor it down. When I said there's a right way and a wrong, there isn't a right way and a wrong way about putting your nets out. There is. What I meant by that is some people tend to just put a float on the end to allow the end to just float in the water, or some people tend to put like a piece of 2x2 between the lead line and the float line just to stop the nets from spinning up. But I found this way has worked for however long I've been doing this. Been doing this many years, putting nets out. So yeah, that will tend to work because it's anchored in at the bottom there. It's the float's not going to go underneath the lead line because it's constantly going to be buoyant in the water. So I'll just walk you down through the nets now. So this is the trammel net. I've always make sure that the headline is always on the ebb. So when the tide's coming in, the lead line will always be stuck down and the float line will all be pushed away from the lead line, so there's no chance of it ever getting twisted up. I say, yeah, again, I've marked the ends here, same as I did before, just a couple of milk cans there with a bit of expanding foam in just to help on the buoyancy. Just put another wooden plate in the floor just to have it anchored out, so you've got the lead line with a few little floats along it, and then you've got the lead line there. Over here I've put the two 75-yard flat fish nets. I say this is the same kind of design, but the reason why I've only done that one like that and not put a stake in the ground is because that's only a short net. You see, there's not going to be a great deal of drag on that. Although it is a trammel net, the meshes are quite big, so there's only small mesh of one size in the centre there. So I've just staked this into ground. That's just the bridle there to hold it into place. Also another wooden plate there to add it as an extra anchorage. I say, yet again, I've just put a ripstop in there rather than a piece of 2x2 as some people might do. But I say I've never had an issue with this. Mark the end off to help it keep up. Also this one here, got just a little float on it. Don't know if you can see that there. I might just be walking a bit too fast for you to be able to see it. So this is the mesh size I'm using. So it's a nice size. So you have 5.5 inch mesh. I say that's the lead line. Don't know if you can just see that. It's just you can see how it catches fish. So it's just camouflaging the sand there. Yeah, there's a lead line there, and then you got the float line there. I've not actually made these nets up. I say I can make nets. I say I've actually bought these from Gale Force nets down in Plymouth. I say they're quality nets. I say I've had them many a years. I've fished them many a times. You could probably tell by the state of them. There's quite a few holes in them, but I say they fish really well. I've never had a problem with them. So I've just done this one in the centre, just to add as an extra bit of anchorage. I don't normally do it, but with it being a big tide, the tide's absolutely screaming in, and obviously with that wind being in the southwest, it can cause it to move a bit more. So I say I'll just put a centre one in the centre. I say I've done this one exactly the same. Just apologies again for the bit of a wind noise. I say there is a bit of a breeze here, which is always helpful when you're catching your fish, because the spot I'm at, you'll only catch the fish when the wind's coming off the sea or in the southwest. So it's always good to have a little bit of knowledge about where you're fishing. You put your nets out and you can catch absolutely nothing, because there's a little bit of maths involved as well. This one here has just got my name on the marker buoy there, just so if the fishies come along, they know that's my gear, so they can trace it back to me. Also as well, always check the weather before you go out. So it's so important. Not only you don't want to be wasting your time and putting your nets out and not getting any rewards for it, but you also don't want to be getting yourself into any danger or any troubles. Make sure someone knows where you're going, what you're doing, approximate time of when you're coming back. So safety is key. As I say, with the tide being so big, and if you don't know the beaches, I'm actually currently stood on top of a bank here, so if I didn't know anything about it and I didn't know the tide was coming in, I could quite easily be trapped out, and then the lifeboat would have to come out and get me. So that's just basically a waste of resources due to ignorance of not knowing what you're doing. As I say, this is the same one. I say it's just a different, exactly the same net, 5.5 inch mesh, just a different colour. These are the only ones that they had in stock at the time. I've caught turbots, soles, obviously plenty of flatfish, as they are for flatfish. I've had a couple of skate in them. Yeah, they generally work really well to catch the fish. I think I've had these nets about 5 or 6 years now, something like that. I say it's the first time I've fished them for cod, but I know they will catch cod, because when I first laid them out, I did have a small cod in them, so I know that the heads will get gilled in them. So yeah, I say the same again, just staked off at the other end, and there's the bridles. So as the tide comes in, just an oil can, empty oil can, cleaned out as well, so there's nothing going into the ocean. I say, because being someone that loves the beach, it's very important that we look after our beach and our oceans, because the fish that we're eating is going to be swimming around in this stuff. So yeah, there's the net there. I'll just hold it up so you can see it. So that's how it will stand in the water. So the fish will come in from, this is the ebb tide coming from my left. So I say the tide will come in, the nets will stand up like that. I say it's approximately about 6 foot odd, 5 foot. And then when the tide ebbs out again, the fish will come out. I say I'm just on top of the bank here. I say there's a gully there, just coming out. The runoff's there. I say, and I'm actually in the centre of it, so that's the gully that runs out. So I'm literally just on the edge of this gully here, but there's just on where that trammel net was, that actually goes right the way through a gully. So the fish will have to come down over the top of the bank and straight into the net. So yeah, I say I'll be back this afternoon. I say I'll put another video on, so you can see the tide's coming in super quick there. We're about 45 minutes flood, so it's no time to hang around now. I say the nets are out. I'll just wait until they get about 10 yards off, or just by they get to the net, and then I'll start heading off. I say don't want to be on the beach any longer than I have to be, for safety reasons, especially with the tide it is now. Right, I'll see you this afternoon when we come and get when we come and see what's in the nets. So I say fingers crossed we'll have a couple of nice cod. I say maybe a bit of winter skate, and obviously plenty of flatties, because we get a lot of flatties on this beach, flounders, plaice. I say I don't tend to sell it. I tend to just fillet it off, freeze it down, and have fish suppers. So unless I want something that's completely different, I'll go to my local fishmongers, one in town, Wesley Fish. I say quality fish there. So as I say, I'll only eat what I catch, and if I get a bit more, I'll see if I can get a little bit of pocket money out of it, just to pay for the repairs on the nets that I've got. But other than that, I just tend to eat it. Okay, right, well I'll see you this afternoon then. Ta-ra.